good, you know, good and inspirational. Something divine happened. Oh, something divine happened to you. Everybody had a really good week.
My daughter graduated 12th grade, Mo.
Oh,
Islam.
it's fun. Good. Let me turn this here and talk stuff on. Well, praise Allah, Mo. That's really good news. Praise Allah. All right, got here. Uh, I guess that's cool. Okay, so praise Allah, honor to the Prophet. Like I said, welcome to all those on YouTube. We've already opened up, so please open up with your prayer if you haven't done that. All right, so we're going to open up our Quran here from multiple angles. We're going to start at chapter 21, and then we're going to move forward throughout the whole Quran from there. So everybody make sure you have that there. Let me open up and give all perfect praise to Allah. Perfect. Love you, Father God, Allah. Thank you for making us. We give you all praise and glory, Father God, Allah, the master of all the worlds, the master of the day of judgment. He alone do we worship. Thank you, Father God, Allah. Praise you, Father God, Allah. I want to give honors to the Holy Prophet, Allah's holy and divine prophet, which would be Noble Jew Ali, our Redeemer, who came and gave us the everlasting gospel from our Father to our ancient Father, to the Prophet, so that we could save ourselves and we could learn what it means to be civilized in time and move on to have, move ourselves up to perfected men. For these are the gifts that our prophet. We want to give the Prophet Noble Drew Ali high honors. We want to give honors to the forerunner of the Prophet, which would be Marcus Mosiah Garvey. I want to give honors to our Supreme Grand Chief, Emily Hill. I want to give honors to our Holy Quran, the Moorish Science Temple of America. Honors to the Moorish Science Temple of America's Divine Constitution and Bylaws. I want to give honors to the Quran Questions for Moorish Americans. And I want to give honors to you for showing up on your Friday, for this is our holy day for our Muslims here and all over the world. Honors to all members of Temple number 43. Honors to nationalities around the world, worshiping the great God under their binding victory, Islamism. So, in the Moorish Science Temple of America, we have our laws and we have customary laws already established too, but we also have law. And within the law is our customs. So sometimes we have to be careful, on how we um, see our law and how we function with it and compared to other people's divine laws, such as the Holy Quran of Muhammad and that particular law and customary and traditional laws of those particular Muslims, right? And we have to remember sometimes they mix in their customary laws and traditional laws through their traditional government along with the Quran. And there's nothing wrong with that, for that is what came for them in their area. But we also have one. So we don't get ours mixed up in the way in which they function under their divine victory. There's certain customary laws that they have and traditional laws that we don't do. You know what I'm saying? We don't make our women cover up all the way, just with one eyeball sticking out. If they want, praise Allah. But it's not mandatory. It's not mandatory on other particular laws that they have. I'm not going to go into certain particular ones, but we just don't have those. All right, but some of the ones we do have, let's look at our marriage, like the marriage laws on chapter 21, or Ch.1, the divine instructions from the Holy Prophet, right? And it says, let's just look at it. I'm not going to reread the whole thing. That's not what I want you to perceive this right now. I will read a little bit of it, okay? So in the marriage laws, right, some of these laws are meant to be read when a man and wife are going to come together into obligation. And it is important to understand how the Quran is laid out to get you to the point where you're about to get married. The Quran is laid out almost like the unfoldment of one's life. Okay. So by the time we get to the marriage laws, by the time we get to the marriage laws, there are other laws that we have already mastered within ourselves. Okay. And it makes the marriage laws and then that obligation that much more understanding and easier. See, now coming from a European psychology known as mental slavery that we're coming up out of and brushing off and kicking away, right? And coming back under Islam, right, which was made for our earthly and our divine salvation. Well, there is a lag time up in there or breaking away of that which we are used to under habit. Okay, but doesn't mean a divine particular way, but it is a habit way that we've gotten used to and comfortable performing under that. And people can live their entire life performing under that particular habit. Although coming into these laws, we have to now develop the habit to look at marriage, to look at family, to look at situations from the point of view of law that our prophet has divinely given us. So when in saying that, right, so I started at the marriage laws to take you and where we're going to get there. Let's get to the point where you are competent under our law and what's come for us to the point where you're competent to get married. Not saying people aren't competent today, don't misunderstand me, right? But competent under the laws that's been given to us that's divinely tuned into our very nature, then we are that much more competent because we're back under the divine laws of Allah sent to our prophets, sent to us, that makes us that much more civilized amongst each other in the development and growth, right? All right. So before the marriage laws are founded on the whole book, right? Really. So how do I say that? Because of page 3. Turn quickly to page 3. You're going to be turning your book here, so get your finger turning page, finger ready. All right. But anyway, so it says here on page number 3, or is that 3? Yeah, page 3. From the divine instruction of the Holy Prophet, know thyself and thy Father God Allah. Says, dear readers, do not also use these lessons. They are for good and peace and happiness for all those that love Jesus. Then it says, dear mothers. Then it says, dear fathers. Okay. So this is very important to understand, right? Because it is, and look what it's, dear mothers, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. This is an instruction when you're married and have children. Can't be a mother, obviously, without having children. You can be married without being a mother. You know what I'm saying? You can be married without being a father, but when you then become children after the marriage, this is where you begin your foundation to look at things. So, dear mother, teach these lessons to your little ones that they may learn to love instead of hate. Dear fathers, by these lessons, you can set your house in order, and your children will learn to love instead of hate. All right, so let's look at it from the point of view of that. And it's also looking from us coming in as children back into the house and certain lessons that we need to learn. But let's look at it from the point of view of also raising a family. So chapter 1 could also be looked at as the age one. Or, look at it right before, within the womb too. You can look at it, pre, you can look at it within the womb. Right, but at age 1, these are the time you begin to, even though you may not think the child's not comprehending, but this actually is the time to begin to teach the child chapter 1 because it opens up neural pathways, regardless if you don't believe they're understanding it or not. You read this to the child, right? And then when their comprehension is getting more developed around 1, what I'm saying, and moving into 2 to, the 2s and the 3s, and that time right there, where they're like a sponge. And so you're reading you're reading chapter 1, 2, I'm not really seeing if they comprehend. That's not really the point. so much, but it's to get them, their minds used to this form of communication. And then you, as the father and mother, you make it interesting to the child, obviously. You know what I'm saying? You make it like a little, you know, um, playtime, maybe do sock puppets, make a little, you gotta do that, make a little world for them. You know what I'm saying? Time never was when man was not. I don't know, put a blanket around them, all white sheet, and you just do your thing like you're entertaining the child, right? But you go through those particular things. Now, the time you get to two, right? Or you could look at it from the womb at one, right? Look at it from in the womb at one because it actually starts kind of there also. And then, that second month, maybe, or something to this effect, you can look at woman is Mary and Elizabeth being taught, and then they're going to birth the child. You know what I'm saying? You can kind of look at it like that also. But let's look at from 1, 2, and 3, right? So, but the page 3, when it says, dear readers, our father and mother, those go to a law that backs that up. And this is another thing that I want to make my point, right? So the marriage laws start, but it goes into father and mother and these things to get the house in order. But that also goes into a law, which is Acts 7. So there's a law to back that up. There's a there's a constitutional law to back that up, okay, about the marriage laws. And then within the marriage laws themselves become customary law, right, within the temple. It says, certain part in here, let's read a few real quick, right? Let's look at the duty of a husband. Right, so let's look at the duty of a husband. All right, so there's laws in here. Right, so the duty of a husband is actually laws that are laid out that you actually have to follow to the best of your ability. You understand? And this is your foundation on how to get your mind right on what it means to have a duty, what the duty of a husband is. Because prior to this, most of Asiatics, who believe that they're Negroes, learned the duty of a husband from television or from their father and mother. Maybe they didn't have a father and mother. You know what I'm saying? So maybe they learned it from the auntie or the grandmother. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they didn't have that, learned it a little bit more from the street. But a lot of it came from social and peer, you know what I'm saying, what we believe, instead of a set rule from God, instead of a set understanding from God. This is like back in the Garden of Eden almost. It's like when, what I'm saying, when God was trying to teach Adam, right? And there were many of them, but Adam, the civilized Adam, right? First civilized man being us, when teaching that Adam what it means to procreate and how you're supposed to procreate, to bring forth the best result, not just to have a particular feeling or an orgasm, so to say, right? But to actually procreate with a purpose and things balanced up. But this is almost what the book is too. Now, it's giving you back the duty when you didn't understand that there was a duty of a husband. There actually is. And you can go back to the instructions to rely on that duty to see if you're going according to the divine plan. Not your plan that you saw on TV or your plan because now you're emotional and you're a little disbalanced and now you want to make up something so that you could be the one who says, I'm right in the relationship. No, there's an actual plan here. There's an actual set thing so that there is actual equality and there is actual balance in the relationship where people don't overstep their particular bounds to another human being. You see, start beating up on people when you shouldn't be beating up on somebody. Well, there's actual law that prohibits you from that. Not only Act 3, but it says consider the tenderness of her sex, the delicacies of her frame, and be not severe to her weakness, but remember thy own imperfection. What weakness? Well, you got upper body strength more than a woman, you see. So no, there ain't no, there's no, oops, I slipped and we got to argue about this popped her in her mouth. What? Well, that goes against, you know, that goes against a lot. So also, it's number 7. Oppose not her inclinations without cause. She is the partner of thy cares. Make her also the companion of thy pleasures. See? So when you rolling, your eyes get to roaming, looking at another girl's woo, you know what I'm saying, while you right there with the woman, well, those things are actually go against certain laws because you're supposed to make her the object of your pleasure, and she's supposed to make you the object of her pleasure. You understand? See, these particular laws, marriage laws, these customary laws, were set for us for a purpose. It's because we got a European psychology on what marriage should be. And we got a bunch of people out here who got their marriage understanding from Cosby, from All in the Family, or some are their dysfunctional family. Yes, I say dysfunctional because more likely your parents had a European psychology. Okay. And so we got to break that cycle. We got to stop that right there. Oh, yeah. There were certain things that are good. It's like anything else. Take the green and leave the rest and then get the instructions to fill in the gap. You understand? You don't hold on. You hold on to the best parts. That your mother, your father, your grandmother, your grandfather, your auntie, your uncle, whomever was there to raise you, you hold on to the best parts. You know what I'm saying? But now you got divine instructions so that you could become that much more divine family as the prophet in Allah, really Allah has sent our way. So let's get back to it. So so there is no um in Moorish in the Moorish in Moorish America or the Moorish family or the Moorish culture or our way, there are instructions so it alleviates all the excuses. You can't fly off the handle. Why? So let's go. See, now we have a tendency, maybe, but as we gather our society together and we build the institutions that teach these lessons to our little ones, then they will be raised up under the 12-step ladder. So let's kind of go there real quick. All right. So the marriage laws, like I say, if you look at them, they also go into the customary laws that tell what a man is supposed to perform, the duties to the wife, and the duties of a wife to the man, you know what I'm saying? And things like that, right? And then when the child's younger, right, that's why it goes into, or when you are moving to the marriage laws, you are moving through the Quran as a little child. Say, I'm trying to do it twofold here. One from our point of view, who weren't taught these things as a child, and to also give you a point of view on how to raise a child, right, from the point of view of what the Prophet Muhammad has brought for us, because it opens up in page 3's mother by teach these lessons to your little ones, right? And father, by these lessons, you can get your house in order. So if you have children, not only are there laws there, but there are instructions now. We don't have to just make up something as we go. We don't have to take someone else's idea. We have a divine ideal directly from Allah. Right? And this is what we need to be raising our children by and shun what other people are saying. No, we don't raise our children like that. You know what I'm saying? No, you don't raise your voice to my child like that, nor do you raise your hand like you're going to hit my child, because I don't teach my child how to solve a problem through violence. Why? Because let's just kind of go there, right? So there are let's just say, all right, let's go to the foundation. So chapter 22, where is that? I think I was just there. Oh yeah, so holy instructions, the duty of a husband. But that prior to all that, right, you have to look at from your child's point of view and when you're raising your child, right? So that's more or less on chapter 23, right? The holy instructions for the children. So we didn't get these instructions when we were children. So we got this European psychology. But now that we are out of there, and so if you're a Sunday school teacher or some a Sunday school teacher, yes, Sunday school teacher, or if you are a preschool teacher or you are a teacher within our society, these are the instructions for the child. And this is how you would raise or in our society, discipline doesn't mean you put your hands on another man's child. It means it means that you actually we're on Zoom right now. I'm on the same Zoom number.
Oh, I apologize.
No, you good. That's fine. So so you don't really, another Moor wouldn't, more or less, try to go spank another man's child, but you would discipline the child by the instructions that are given here. And now we can trust my child to be around me, to discipline my child. I know you got divine instructions. You understand? I'm not afraid you're gonna pop my child a little bit more than you pop your own child. You know what I mean? So let's just keep it 100, right? So here are the instructions on raising a child. Now, we would have got these, I'm saying, would even be good. Now, if we to raise our children with these instructions, by the time they get to the holy instructions of marriage, then they're going to understand, I'm saying, and understand how to live these particular divine instructions that much more. So let's look at that real quick. Chapter, what is this, 23. Let's just start at 8, right? Or no, 7. It says, the soil is thy own, let it not want for cultivations. The seeds which thou sowest, that also thou shalt reap. Talking about your children, right? So the next one is 8, and all the way until 13. And if you follow that and count that, that's 12, right? So that's a 12-step ladder. This is what you teach your children. You teach, right, your child obedience at a very early age. Okay, what do you teach them obedience to? You teach them obedience of the child towards the father. You got instructions on the very next chapter. This is what you got to know that chapter so you can understand what to teach obedience. You see, this book is bomb, man. It's off the chain. Look at this. Teach the child, teach him or her obedience, and he or she shall bless thee. I just say he, put the she there too, but and he shall bless thee. Teach him modesty, and he shall not be ashamed. So not only is it giving you why, teach him obedience so you will get blessed. And then thus he teaches his child obedience so he gets or she gets blessed. Right? Teach them modesty so they won't be ashamed in life. How many times have you been ashamed? Well, that's because there was no modesty being taught early on. And these are the keys that make the man and the woman into either, if there's no modesty more than or less, that woman child will have no modesty, more or less is going to be a little bit loose. She's going to be a little bit loose out there, willing to wear stretchy pants at any given time, and the man can just see every hip gap that there is moving. But that's just the name of the game out here today. But hey, the modesty, you can see there's no modesty there. Teach him gratitude or her, and she shall receive benefits, or he shall receive benefits. It is to be grateful where benefits come from. You want benefits? Learn how to be grateful. And then teaching the child how to be grateful, then these benefits, and then you're the one that's going to get the child benefit. Now it's programming in the child's mind. Oh, to be grateful receives benefits in life. Grateful I have a society. Grateful I have a flag. Why we teach the child what flag is. Grateful I have a religion. Grateful I have a mother, a father, so I can have longer days on earth because my parents are teaching me things that I can be grateful for. All right. Teach them charity and they'll gain love. Whoa, wait a minute. You know, everybody looking for love. What is through charity you get love? Charity doesn't just mean giving somebody some money. Charity could be listening. Charity could be the good word that that person needed that day, where you went out your way to do that because you knew that person was down. Charity is sacrifice, in other words, of something that you want to do, but you see the need for someone else that much more. That sacrifice, woo boy, woo, that's a great sacrifice. Mhm. That's love, man. Teach him temperaments are hurt, and they shall have health. In other words, moderation. In other words, where they don't become a dope king, where they don't become some sexual pervert, where they don't become some gambling fool, and their health declines because their minds decline. Or they overeat? Are they over this, over that? No moderation. That comes from the child being spoiled too much. Always giving the child so that you could, more than likely today, most people give the child a gang of stuff so they can just be quiet. You just take that, be quiet. Because the mental capacity of the parent doesn't know temperaments. You know, got no gratitude. Didn't really get taught obedience, no modesty. But anyway, so teach in prudence and fortune shall attend them. You know how important it is to teach a child prudence then? So your child's not broke? These are the lessons more than anything. Because then the child knows how to fish at 12. This is why we need our own society. This is why we need our own school system. This is why we have been given back instructions because we don't know, yo. Take a good look at these ones out here and tell me that the system that you grew up in and we grew up in is really that good. Really, let's look at this stuff.
Yes, Mom.
You understand? This is what is needed. Quick, fast, and a hurry around here. Islam, man. You know what I'm saying? Teach the child prudence. While you're teaching the child prudence, you're learning it that much more. When you teach anyone, it strengthens you even more. It keeps you on target. Okay, that, this, I'm doing something crazy. Let me get my stuff. See, keeps you on point too. It's a reciprocal energy thing going. Teach him justice, and he shall be honored by the world. Not automatically teach the child how to run down the field with a football to be honored. No, justice gets you the honor of the world. If that's what ones are seeking. But here's the thing: the child already got the tools necessary to go into the world with these type of tools developed. So that when they do choose to move forward, they move forward with a purpose that's divine and they're going to get what they're looking for because they develop patience. They develop temperaments or that moderation so they don't go, you know, they know how to go to work. They know the importance of obedience. Right now, let me learn the hard thing before I go do the easy thing in life. This is why we do what we've done, so that we can move into this divine society. You know, your Quran is not just to be read like some Bible like that. No offense on the Bible. But this Quran is meant for the instruction. It's literally a manual. It is for what you're supposed to do so that you could become that divine character, so that you could pass the character down to your children. And thus the society then becomes the body once again of Jesus. Because all have a similar character with this book. All then have a divine wavelength that we tune into collectively as a force to move in the world. Not like some weird communistic thing, but a divine purpose. This thing is bomb, man. So teach sincerity, and his own heart shall not reproach him. Meaning there won't be no conflicts up in there. You understand? No deep, crazy conflict that so many brothers and sisters go through today. So many brothers and sisters are been through certain conflicts that can't even be told in words. And happy they've come out of it, but woo, I know they don't want to send no one else through it. So then why don't you then get the lessons of sincerity to be able to pass that down? You don't have any children, then you must become sincerity to pass it down to the child that you see around you. Responsibility for the community. There are no stragglers, no outcasts in the community. Understand? There isn't any. No bums. With these lessons, no one's living on the street. No one's eating out of garbage cans not knowing what to do. With these lessons, there's always a divine plan already set up, so that when those attributes begin to raise their head within the child's psychology, we're already there with the acts, with the loving acts to cut that knot off before that child even reaches maturity. Teach him diligence, and the wealth shall increase. You wonder why he's not wealthy? Because there's no diligence. Always move from one thing to the next thing. This thing look good over here. Ooh, let me go try that. But you never completed this one over here, though. You didn't complete that over there, but you sure jumped on that thing over there. Always starting again. Always starting over again. And the wise man starts from the place he began from, and then moves until completion, and never gets off until the job is done. The fool blows in the wind with every good idea that come along. Well, that fool can be conned, easily conned. Somebody show him some pebbles. They brought up from the brook, and a few people around them clapping. You don't even know if that clapping is a part of the con. They're probably in the whole crew. And you thinking it's just all good, but they all work with one another. Teach him diligence, and the wealth shall increase. Teach him benevolence, and his mind shall be exalted. It is the benevolent mind, not the malevolent mind that gets exalted, but the benevolent mind. And so much in this world is the malevolent mind being portrayed year after year, song after song, station after station, TV after TV, show after show, news after news, malevolent, malevolent, malevolent. That's it. Because this is the psychology they need you, brother and sisters, to get wrapped up in, because you put out a creation signal into the ether. They can get you malevolent, and they good, That's what some of these people's natural state is. But when you become benevolent, it starts to rock the boat. When you become benevolent, it starts to make people have to straighten up a little bit because they can't deal with that because the truth is showed up. And when the truth shows up, man, a lie can't deal with that. It runs for cover. It runs from the light. You know what I'm saying? It's like a roach scattering. You know, the only way to be the true revealer of the light is to truly have a benevolent heart. Teach him science, and his life shall be useful. Understand the prophet was such a genius. In other words, there's so many sciences, theology, just think about all the sciences. That means the son or the daughter is always valuable. You got to teach the son and the daughter how to be valuable in society. The skill that's valuable that never loses value. Science never loses value. You upgrade science. You understand? And when we run our own science, and when we run our own system, then our children never degrade. They always upgrade. There's always something there. Why? Because the instructions are there. Never is there an excuse you don't know what to do. The prophet's taken away all the excuses. Oh, I just don't know how to raise that child. What do you mean you don't know how to raise a child? You got a Quran? How old are they? Or what part of the 12-step ladder are you on? Do they know those parts? And if they don't, you ain't got to be like, oh, I'm going to sit down, let me teach you benevolence. No, you begin to implement those things through your conversation with them. And by you being the example, that's the best example. When you benevolent, they see it. When you're just, and when the world's honoring you for being just and stand up for what's right, sons and the daughters see that and they understand it. It not only triggered when you were telling them, but it became a living fact when they see you doing it. Now that child is ready to move on, right? So now they went up that 12-step ladder, that divine, I love that chapter. Now that they moved up that 12-step ladder, right? Let's go to the next. Let's go to unity. What's this? Oh, no, hold it. 12-step ladder. Ooh, excuse me. Okay. So that time they're about, they're reaching around almost 12 years old. Okay. This is the time when the father gives the further instructions to the child, right, on the obedience of the child towards the father. Before that child's 12 is when the instructions go down on how you are supposed to be obedient. This is that time because he's getting about to be grown. He's going to start thinking about women in a minute. You understand? He's going to start thinking about roll out with his homies in a minute. So once you get that last obedience up in there, he knows how to. He's really good by following those instructions. Be grateful to thy father for he gave thee life, boy, and to thy mother for she sustained thee. You know I love you. Come here, man. You know what I'm saying? These are the things you're supposed to be whipping on them before they hit the world. Or now that you know, you start implement these things, right? But anyway, why? Because he's about to move out into the world. The next chapter is when you are moving into the world. You're about 25 years old. Look at the number, 25. If you follow these instructions, like 1, 2, 3, 4, about their age, oh my goodness. By the time they're 25, they're ready to move out. They're ready to roll. Right now, what they got to do, they got to take the covenant. They got to take that holy covenant before they roll out. So they understand, boy, you know where your loyalty lies. So you don't get caught in no red understanding or no rebel out there, or no other particular understanding that's not your way of life. Not saying it's bad for any other people's way of life. So now they take that holy covenant of the Asiatic nation, and they know prefer not a stranger before thy own blood. Let the bonds of affection, you know what I'm saying, therefore unite you with thy brothers, that peace and happiness may dwell in thy father's house. And what are you hitting with? You hitting with an affection bond. Why? Because you're supposed to be grown, having bonds and stocks there. So when the son's ready to go out to college or something, here you go, boy. Here go a couple of affection bonds worth about 25,000, 50,000 apiece. It's something for you when you're moving out there. I trust you. No, you ain't finna be out there in no dope. No, you ain't finna be out there spending on no hoe. No, you finna do the right thing. But you make sure you have your little fun though while you out there. But he got that covenant on him. And then now it's his turn to get these instructions of unity, because he's moving in the world as a man. So now he needs to understand how a man speaks to other men. The gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah, and so this is the chapter of unity. This is the next stage, right? So the gifts of understanding are the treasures of Allah, and he hath appointed to everyone his portion in what measure seem good unto himself. Therefore, respect another person until they show you the disrespect, because everybody's gotten a gift from Allah out there. But if they show you that they're not using their gift, that's the role. Oh, are you hanging out with somebody that don't know how to use their gift? And now if you want to show them or teach them a few things because they're your folks, then okay. But see, this chapter gives you an understanding on more like society. So that you can get your mind ready to be up in the world. Don't be so puffed up in thy own conceit. You know what I'm saying? The wise man filleth his own perfections. Don't be boasting of attainments and things that you never did. These instructions is bomb. Think about the type of individual by the time they're 40 that has been grown up with these since the womb, that's living within that society, though, that nurtures this type of understanding. So you can have these instructions and try to raise a child really, really good, but if that society that's why I told you to get back Christianity in the church, because that's, their church and their society. You know what I'm saying? But if that society is overpowering you because there is no particular society that's there under these divine laws that he created, there's something wrong, because you got to have that society go along with the laws to nurture the entire thing. Are y'all following me?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes. So, these are bomb, man. So check this out. So when he's about that age, now he's at that age. So let's move to the next chapter. The holy unity of the rich and the poor. That's economics. See, these are the things that he's going to learn before he rolls out. Or she's going to learn before she rolls out in the world. But what type of economics? The economics that makes you a leader. He seeks out objects of compassion. He inquireth into their wants. He receiveth them with judgment and without ostentation. Excessive display, in other words. So, I mean, man, God, so to teach a child or to teach a child as they're growing up, now they're into these economic parts, but they're learning it from a point of view of a leader. The man to whom Allah has given riches and blessed with a mind to employ them aright is particularly favored and highly distinguished. Well, how can that person be distinguished if they didn't really get the understandings of moderation or justice or prudence or a science. Ain't no distinguished something just popping out of somebody's osmosis. Distinguished, just gonna osmosis me on up, huh? Just gonna rub off on some distinguishedness. Don't work like that. You got to actually work for those things in life. You got to build those neural pathways that builds that character up. So that when things do come and the right decision has to go down, there is no second thought. You move from that heart, man, you know the right decision, boom, get that. You know what I'm saying? Why? Because you already know I got a low, how to quiet that low. Shut up. You know. All right. So now that he's gotten into the unity, he's gotten the economic, this chapter also teaches karma. Now the next, let's look at the next chapter. Y'all rolling with me? Y'all all right? I'm going too quick?
Islam.
Okay, so
Islam.
all right, so chapter, what is this, 28? So these are employment laws. Why? Because you're 28, got to get a job. Whether that's working with the family, whether that's working with another company, you understand master and servant, or another word for that, employer and employee. Let's go look it up with a thesaurus. It means that, guys. Okay. So these are learning how to be an employer by first learning how to be an employee, giving you the value of a thing, learning, ripen, not, oh man, at the state of servitude. Because you finna be in power one day. How you gonna ever tell someone how to serve if you don't know what that even looks like? How you know someone's serving you correctly if you haven't yet been that to master that? You see? So that's the employee, right? But oh man, at the state of an employee or servitude. It is the appointment of Allah and have many advantages. It removeth thee from the cares and solicitudes in life. So that's what happens when you get a job. That's when you're employed. What happens? It relieves the cares, my friend. Now, you making more debt, you making more issues, then you know, that's you piling stuff on. It's supposed to relieve the cares. The honor of the servant is his fidelity, his devotedness, his loyalty to the job. I'm there on time. I'm there before the boss is there. You know what I'm saying? When I wanted a job, I used to show up before the people showed up. What are you doing here? I'm looking for a job. Saw you guys open up about 20 minutes. Okay, come on in. And always got it. Straight up. That was my little secret. You know what I'm saying? But anyway, so that's really not a secret. My grandfather told me the early bird catches the worm. Straight up. All right. So where were we?
We were on chapter 28, Master and Servant.
Okay.
If I may,
Please.
could I add to Master and Servant? When I look at this, I also see Master and Servant as parent and child. You see what I'm saying? Repine not, oh man, at the state of servitude. Repine not, child, at the state of servitude to your parent. It relieveth you from the cares and solicitudes in life.
Oh, that's good.
Just listen to your parents and you'll be relieved from the solicitudes and problems in life. Honor thy servant. You know what I'm saying? With a parent, sometimes you gotta honor your child. Sometimes you gotta help them out. Sometimes you gotta mix reproofs with love. And sometimes they'll listen to you a little better. You know, I have to step into that because sometimes I see master and servant as parent and child as well. And it kind of balances things out there as well. So it's fine.
Praise Allah, man. Islam. It's Islam.
Right.
I didn't see it like that, but praise Allah. So I'm saying you need to speak. Well, that was bomb. And
And
I
with
can see
the
I can
patience,
see that now.
right?
You
Be
know that.
patient, therefore,
Mm-hmm.
under the reproofs of thy master. Sometimes, the parent might get a little upset with the child, but be patient.
Be patient.
Look. My mom might get
Wow. That's
Adam's
really
out,
good.
brother Adam's out. It's like, Mom, hold on, let me be patient under
Mm-hmm.
the reproofs of my master.
Mm-hmm.
Even though I'm a grown man too, but sometimes the master gonna step in and you gotta humble yourself, grown man.
Well, yeah, a master is somebody that knows something more than you. Like a
Islamic.
parent, like you know more than me when it comes to parenting. So, I'm gonna listen to a master. You had 7 children. You see what I'm saying? Or
Islam.
you get what I'm
Islam.
saying? Are things to this effect? Somebody that's say put up like my father. My father put up space shuttles, my friend, and
Islam.
and those things, satellites and all sorts of stuff that's already up there. I mean, on some huge projects. So he'll be a master in that particular field. So you would go to that. That's what that means. Recruits of thy master. So if you're a parent, you the parent, you the master. That's right. You're the master of the house. Why? Because you got a mastered mind to teach the
Oh,
child whose mind still needs developing. And this is the problem.
wow.
You know what I'm saying? We sometimes we allow that child through television to be a friend. No, no, no. And now you're going to be a servant. I'm going to be the master because I'm going to teach you how to be a master. You know, I get that,
Islam.
Mo. I get that. I like that, Mo. It's tight. Islam. Anyone else? I mean, you got some more, Mo? Islam. Okay. So when right, he shall serve thee faithfully from the motive of gratitude. Do you see how this goes back to what we just said on gratitude? See how bomb that 12-step ladder is? Too. But anyway, so when they're there, right? So those are like employment, employers, right? Also, like the most said, a father and son. You know what I'm saying? Almost like you're teaching your son a skill too. Like you're the master, they're the apprentice. You know how you move. You know how you pass your skill down to your son so they can become the one who runs the entire shop. Things like that. Nepotism, right? So deal with the laws. All right. So the next one, I get into magistrate and subject. Now that's when he's about ready to hit the career. Why is that so important for a Moorish American? Because there's a law that goes with that. If you kind of look at it, right? Because you're supposed to be part and parcel of the government and learning how to run a government or knowing your government. So you're supposed to understand magistrate and subject. See, you're supposed to become the governor. You're supposed to become the judge. You're supposed to be the one in charge, helping us run this thing. So these lessons are important because it gives you nobility. It gives you an understanding of how things are really run in the world. Magistrate and subject. Thou art the favorite of heaven, whom the sons of men, thy equals, have agreed to raise sovereign power. Well, this is the same thing we do in the temple. You know what I'm saying? You got a bunch of Moors, princes or princesses around, and we're going to decide to come together under a particular thing. So we got to raise somebody. You have to do to be the presiding officer to speak for the group. And then we got to put a council together. So that particular one helps the legislative thing. Then we got to have a judicial thing over here. Are clothed in purple, purple being the one who sits in the power that speaks to other particular people in behalf of the other kings and princesses behind him. Look what all about the favorite of heaven, whom the sons of men, thy equal have agreed. That's why I say sometimes too many people get in particular positions and it gets to their ego. And they get the ego tripping. Oh, I'm over. How you over me? You're not over me now. Hold it. You're in a position now. If you're a grand sheik, you're not really over me. You have charge over the authority of how to move the nation according to the laws. right? But you know what I'm saying, when it comes to other things, we are thy equal. Now we can agree to come together and set you as a spokesman because you have a good way of speaking to the public. We'll put you over public relations.
Islam. Thank you for that.
Says, when the learned and the ingenious, he delighteth himself. He kindleth in their breasts emulation, and the glory of his kingdom is exalted by their labors. In other words, so if you're placed in a position of authority running a particular area, say like you're a governor or a grand sheik or whatever, or you know, supreme grand sheik or whatever, these particular positions that people have in authority, this particular chapter gives you the better understanding on how to be a just person with that type of authority. And you can be checked by it. See, that's the beauty of it. He founded his judgments on the principles of mercy, but in the punishment of offenses, he is strict and impartial. In other words, you know that brother's going to be strict when it comes to the law. That means we're all protected. See. But his justice is found on mercy because he has to have a judge amongst his peers. Well, we know the little brother's a little crazy in the neighborhood because he had a little, you know, something happened with him. We're going to give him a little love and help him out before we just lock him up. Why? Because he's part of our family. That's what we do anyway. And yes, sometimes we may have to lock some of our family members up. So it's just bomb. All right, so the next one goes then, you know, when you mature with the book and you're maturing and you're ready to move out there into the world, your lessons go with you. They kind of go hand in hand with you because if you look in your life where you're at, look at the lessons. Okay, where am I at? The social duties. Okay, I need to, you know, what is the overall method of having social? What does it really mean to be social? What does it really mean to have these social duties amongst society? There was never any instructions until now. And the day you pick the instructions up and stop looking at Facebook as letting it dictate what some social is the day you understand what it really means to be social, what it means to have these duties amongst men and women. His desires to do good, and he searches out the occasions thereof, and in the removing of the oppressions of another, he relieveth himself. It's one of the social duties. See somebody in some depression, oh, let me help you out, man. You all right, you good? You know what I'm saying? Man, you're all right. Let me take you over here, man. You know what I'm saying? They put something for you, want to hook you in with you. Whoa. Man, that was really cool, man. Didn't see that person a few months later just doing great. You know, you don't even say nothing. It's like, good. You're pushing and give a prayer out. Why? Because that person's in your social community. When that person's a bum, it's a reflection of you. It really is. When that child is out there crying, have been abused, it's a reflection of the entire society. To allow children to be abused is a 100% reflection of the society itself. And the duties they have implemented, either that they uphold, or they don't uphold. And if they're not upholding it, that once again goes right back to you because you are the one with certain social duties that have a right to stand up and say something in this world. Part of the social duties is justice. Another one is charity. But justice, the peace of society depends on the justice and the happiness of individuals on the safe enjoyment of all their possessions. Part of my possessions are my children. Part of my possessions is my house. You know what I'm saying? Straight up. Wife, I'm her possession, she's my possession. We're gonna even claim each other on tax forms. Whatever. All I'm saying, right, is you got to look at it, look at the book as it unfolds in your life. Keep it in your back pocket. I don't care. Get you a one that you can just wrinkle up. You can just, put in a circle and hold him up, put a couple rubber bands around him, and take him everywhere you go. Why? Because you out there. Oh, let me just go back to a foundation. Okay, whoop, whoop, whoop. I'm good. Walk up in here and get these, you know what I'm saying? I'm gonna walk up in here and get this deal. This is the motivational things that you need when you're about to go get something big. Why? Well, if I want wealth, I need a little benevolence. Or what did it say? Not bad. I threw something out there. Can't even say that. Let's say when you want wealth. Diligence. You know what I'm saying? I want some wealth. I gotta be diligent. Right? So if I'm looking to walk up in here and land this deal because I need some wealth, I need to be diligent. Now, diligent happens prior to you walking in there. You know that, right? So anyway, so praise Allah. I'm gonna slow it down. Okay. So the next one, obviously, is charity. Those are all social duties, gratitude, sincerity. These particular social duties are very, very important. Now let's go back to looking at it as your life unfolds with the Quran itself. So now you into life out there, the social duties. You kind of grown. You know what I'm saying? You ready to go get you see something nice out there, like, hey, I want to get her, get married or something. She's looking really good. I'm gonna go. How then do I know about her? Well, my lessons say if her eyes are wandering on every man that go by, if her foot's not in her father's house, well, that's a wrong sign. I don't even need to hit her. I need to go over here. But baby girl's foot's in her father's house. Whoom. Right? He's got a plan. He's got some type of understanding on what to perceive out here in this world. The instructions are for you to take with you. In other words, ingrained within your soul. So when you leave this body, they go with you. So that when you come back, you know what I'm saying, those things are ingrained in your DNA. You ain't even got to wait that long. You know what I'm saying? Because you're going to be here for a while. Someone's going to be here for a long time. You know what I'm saying? We got a lot of life left. So the thing is, all I'm saying is, get these things ingrained get them ingrained in you and start to use them like a tool. When you're not sure what to do, the Quran actually does have the answer. You may need to be more sincere that day. So the social duties all the way go up to religion. You got to have some religion. You know what I mean? And then it gets into, you're about 30 something. Like 30, what is that? 34, which is know thyself, which is a 7. Okay? So at the age of 34, in chapter 34, it's time to start to reflect on you. Why? Because you more than likely got you a girl, got her pregnant, you ready, you know what I'm saying? Things is going good, but now it's time to actually start to reflect on you. Because it's that age when things go awry, when the man's not sure about this and not that, he may not have this together or something. No, the prophet already gives you instructions and tells you to now go back and know who you are. Know thyself. Okay.
And this is, I'm sorry,
Emma.
Grand Governor, but this is one of the coldest chapters in the book for me. It really woke me up, gave me the confidence I needed to move, in this world, this world full of Black people. I mean, it says, this is just the first verse, but it says, "What dost thou see omnipotence displayed before thee? Just contemplate thy frame. Anytime you need to see something amazing, or you need some inspiration, or you need you need a boost in your life, or you need some confidence to get through a bad situation, he says, just contemplate thy own frame. Fearfully and wonderfully art thou made. Praise therefore thy creator with awe and rejoice before him with reverence. And it's like, wow, like, wow. This chapter, it teaches you who you are. It teaches you how powerful you are, just you by yourself. And it's like, if you meditate on this stuff, oh my God, oh my God. The lower self got to go to sleep. Islam.
Islam. That's real.
It says, wherefore of all creatures, this is verse 3. Wherefore of all creatures art thou only erect. So it's saying, out of all the creatures on the earth, why are you the only one that's standing on 2 feet? Out of all the Allah's creatures, you got the birds, the snakes, the dragons, the tigers, the bears, right? But it's that human being that naturally, my baby, what is she? She's 6 months, but she's already, oh, I'm supposed to stand on 2 feet. She already naturally knows that. Where did she get that consciousness from? And this chapter explains that. It explains why man is so much different than the other beings on earth. Know thyself. Stop.
Yes. That's true. Yeah, this is a very deep chapter. I mean, all of it. But this is a good chapter. Man. So yeah, so when you're about that age or any age overall, but I'm just, moving it through just to kind of look at it like you're growing up with the Quran, you know, um, or take it through, those stages. So the next chapter, holy instructions from the prophet, the breath of heaven. All right. So this is dealing with your like life force. You know what I'm saying? It's teaching you about your soul. It's starting to get to the soul and to understand what you should be doing. You know what I'm saying? To actuate, in other words, control it. Now that you've known yourself, learn how to control your flesh, actuate it. You know what I'm saying? And direct the flesh. Learn how to breathe. Learn how to get in contact, slow it down to, you know what I'm saying? And learn how to use the holy breath of the truth to move it. So and keep thy soul in moderation. Teach thy spirit to be attentive to its good. So shall these its ministers be always to thee a convenience of truth. Man, that's deep. It says, keep thy soul in moderation, teach thy spirit to be attentive to its good. Spirit, man, is like pure. Be looking at the soul sometime like, oh wow, I'm tripping. You got to teach your spirit, man, to be attentive to the soul's good. That. All right, so I'm not going to stay right there. Now, getting more or less getting to the soul, getting to the mind, of course, the next one is the soul of man, which starts to deal with your mind because you are moving where you need to have a strong mind around 30 something, moving near your 40s and something around there, whatever, right? Your mind's got to be on point. You got to be strong. You got to be solid. You're becoming a master in the things that you're doing. Things are unfolding, right? So you got to know who you are, knowledge of self, holy breath of heaven, you know what I'm saying? Mind are the soul of man, right? Thinking, understanding, reasoning, willing, call not these the soul, but they are its actions, but they are not its essence. Although it's not its essence, people, okay, well, that's not its essence, bruh, but hold it. You still got to know its actions. You know what I mean? You still got to know what it means to think and have some understanding and have some reasoning and some willing, which is choices. They said those are not all that it is, but it's actions. Now, actions bring about consequences, brings about karma. So important, not to let that just fly by. Yeah, the soul of man or your mind is very important. It can go everywhere. You can be the Superman one moment, and then the next moment you just down and under the rock. You know what I'm saying? You was God 1 second, next thing you know, loads of worm, like it says. You happy one moment, and the next thing you just know how to control that, control it. You know what I'm saying? Gotta guard her, for she is rash. Restrain her, for she is irregular. Correct her, for she is outrageous. More subtle is she than water, more flexible than wax, more yielding than air. Is there aught that can bind her? Your mind, what can bind it? Although you still gotta pull it back, because bro, you not on planet Pluto, the super dude came down to Earth, picked up the baddest woman. Now you in the baddest whatever car rolling down the street, and everyone's screaming your name. No, that's not happening. You actually sit in the house, and you know your bills need to get paid, and you know you didn't do that particular thing that you need to do. Get out of the fantasies of your mind and get to the reality of what it is and build the beautiful thing. That's what it means to control it. And when it says her, it means for a man, the right side of the brain, which is where spiritual, intuitional, and all these particular things, emotional. Control that. You may go into an abbreviated moment and be stuck over there on your emotional side. And now you over there hollering and screaming, or you're doing way out emotional things to yourself. Getting stuck over there on the feminine side too much without keeping yourself over there on your natural side. Now, certain people's locus callosum could be bigger than others, and it's easily moved back and forth. Musicians got it. People who play chess. But anyway, I don't want to go there. Look, rest a little bit. But so whatsoever may do good may also do harm. Beware that thou direct its course to virtue. You can be down the rabbit hole in your mind, and you just as foul as you don't. Ooh, you just as foul. Nobody looking. It's all in my mind. Yeah. Well, you looking. It's you. You there. Your higher self, like right there. So guard that. Can't think too much of it either. You start getting way out conceited, narcissistic. All right. So the reason why you want to go from the soul of man and the natural progression as the prophet got to the pinnacle of wisdom, right? So it can teach you how to be a little bit more wise in your choices. Then it gets to the instability, like around 40. You know what I'm saying? So near the age of 40 or XL, you want to check your instability. These chapters of the soul, of the soul of man, and then the next few chapters deal with your soul, your mind. So when you start with soul, and actually it starts before that, know thyself. When you go from know thyself to the breath of heaven, right, to the soul of man, to the pinnacle of wisdom, the instability of man, to the weakness, and to the inefficiency of man and misery, you are dealing with your mind. So important, because that's where all things begin to take place, all with a thought. So now that we're at 40, you need to check your instability. You understand? The inconstancy. What are you inconstant? Before you move further on, you need to be checking that. The inconstancy is powerful in the heart of man. In temperament sway it, and wither it will. Despair and growth is much of it, and fear proclaimeth. Woo-hoo. Behold, I sit unraveled therein. But vanity is be of them all. Weep not, therefore, at the calamities of the human state, rather laugh at its follies. Ah, ha, 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 BLM. I just had to throw that. Just had to throw that in there. You know what I mean? Just had to throw that, my man. But
It's long.
the instability of man is when man, these chapters are bomb right here. Listen to me. Most people don't like these chapters. Man, these are the best chapters. These are the self-improvement, self-mastery chapters to get to you where you like, ain't nothing can phase me out here, man. I mastered my mind, in other words. These are the mastermind chapters.
It's long.
Right? Because when you learn how to be constant, not so distable, by learning where those things are in you, you do good. Now, the inconstant, let's move to the 41. Check your inconstancy. For nature erred thee to inconstancy, oh man. Your own nature erred you to inconstancy. So this is something that you got to check. I can guarantee the majority of y'all is inconstant on something. This chapter is so off the hook right here. I mean, when you really, really see it, man, you know, self-mastery chapters right here. Thou art from the womb tells you how. Resolution, determination, firmness of mind. In other words, that is the thing that fixes the fix. You ever heard when it asks when the fix is solved? I don't know if you read that part in your Quran, but when the fix is solved, well, how to fix the fix is resolution. Those who gave thee a body furnished it with weakness, but he who gave thee a soul armed thee with resolution, determination, in other words, firmness of mind, a fixed thing. Employ it, and thou art wise. Be wise, and thou art happy. Be wise like be wise as a serpent. You ever heard that saying? Let him who doeth well beware how he boasts of it, for rarely is it of his own will. And that's so real. It's not the event of an impulse. Listen to this part, because this is what the majority of people where they get caught up. It's not the event or choice, in other words, of an impulse from without, born of uncertainty, enforced by accident, dependent on somewhat else. Man, that is off the hook what he's telling you right there.
Yep.
Look what he's saying. Let's look at that. It's not the event. It's not the choice you did. It's not when you out there just, without any constancy. Events that come up, and people go to jail by one quick choice. And they up in there for like 5-7 years for a choice they did in 30 seconds. It was a little, now they're gone. It's not the event of an impulse. Now, impulses are from the lower self sometimes, my friend. I want to do that. No, I'm good. Most people, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to take this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Some people get so caught up in their impulses, man, they rape women. You understand? That's how crazy people can get. Listen to what it says. That's why we got to watch this stuff. This is why these lessons are so important. What did it say? So where was I? It's not the event of an impulse from without. In other words, something you've seen, something outside of you, what you see. Oh, I want that. I'm just going to break that and get that. Born of uncertainty. You may believe in it, but you really don't know. You're uncertain. If I do it, what can happen? No, I'm going to do it anyway. Enforced by an accident. We just rolled up on something. Sometimes we just going to do it. Right? Depend on somewhat else. Anyway, to thee and to accident is due the praise. Beware of irresolution in thy intent of thy actions. That's another bomb. In your intent. That's before you even go to do a thing. The majority of people are inconstancy, have inconstancy. Beware of irresolution in the intent of thy actions. Having no purpose. You're not serious, in other words. You just speaking to sound good for the moment because it sounds good. You want to get into the conversation. But you ain't got no intent of doing what you said. Just something to say. Beware of instability in thy execution. So shall thy triumph over two great failings of thy nature. Islam, right? So when you're about 41 or something, 42, 43, or whatever, then, you get a little, about the time when, you're starting to feel like, what does they call that? I never had one, but what do they call that thing when people go through midlife crisis? I've been going through crisis all my life, so I don't even know what that even is. But anyway, so when people get to the midlife crisis or something, they should be around that chapter, and they should start reading weakness. Right? Everybody, vain and inconsistent as thou all child of imperfection, how canst thou be weak? I've memorized that. All right, so very good one. Then it gets into the insufficiency of knowledge, making you a more sharper person as you move older and older. Misery is your final test on who you are and to see if you still stuck there around 44. By the time you hit 45, you're more or less like a diplomat. You all knowing your nations. You know what I'm saying? You're able to talk to people. You can control yourself. You're not in no misery. You can help others get out of misery. You actually got something to offer out there. You know that there's certain things in knowledge that's good, but there's still the insufficiency there. So you're able to give a clear understanding of what's going on in the world. You know what I'm saying? So you know a little bit more about what's popular with Christianity, other people's culture, and of course your own culture. Right? So the Quran unfolds like your life. And if you would look at it like that, it would help out. So it's fine. That's what I have for you on that. Any questions on that? Anything?
Islam, no.
All right, so we're not going to go too much more here. I'm going to read one announcement. I got a public announcement to make, and we can really shut it down and get back to work. So, all right, so please listen up. This is a public announcement here from the national government of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Excuse me, this is a public announcement from the National Republic of the United States of America, Moorish Science Temple of America, Branch Temple 43. The Prophet plead to the nation Friday, March 1st, 1929. Excuse me, some very fine print here. It says, our divine and national movement stands for the specific grand principles of love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And I, the prophet, am applying to all loyal, faithful Moors, members, and the American citizens to help me in my great uplifting acts of uplifting on humanity among the Asiatic race and nation. For I have suffered much and severely in the past through misunderstanding of what the movement was dedicated to. It is the great God Allah alone that guides the destiny of this divine and national movement. I know all true American citizens are identified by national and national descent names, answer and apply to the free national constitution of this free national republic of the United States of America. That's why I'm calling on all true national citizens to help me morally and financially in my great work. I'm going to help this national government, or without a free national name, with a descent flag of your forefathers. There is not a national divine title of the national government in which we live. This is from your true and divine prophet unto all American and foreign sympathizers, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Friday, March 1st, 1929, the prophet's plea to the nation. Islamism. So praise Allah, honors the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali. So that was a warning. I'm going to read the laws here. Do we have any announcements? No? No announcements or anything? Okay. Praise Allah, everybody. I'm going to read the law and then we're going to close out. Salvation, Allah, unity. More Science Temple of America's Divine Constitution and Bylaws. Act 1. The Grand Sheikh and the Chairman of the More Science Temple of America is empowered to make law and enforce laws with the assistance of the Prophet and the Grand Body of the More Science Temple of America. The Assistant Grand Sheikh is to assist the Grand Sheikh in all affairs if he lives according to love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And it is known before the members of the More Science Temple of America. Act 2. All meetings are to be open and closed promptly according to the Circle 7 in love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. Friday is our holy day of rest because on a Friday, the first man was formed in flesh, and on a Friday, the first man departed out of flesh and ascended unto his Father God Allah. For that cause, Friday is a holy day for all Muslims all over the world. Act 3. Love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice must be proclaimed and practiced by all members of the More Science Temple of America. No members to put in danger, accuse falsely his brother or sister on any occasion at all that may harm his brother or sister because Allah is love. Act 4. All members must preserve these holy and divine laws, and all members must obey the laws of the government. Because by being a Moorish American, you are part and parcel of the government and must live the life accordingly. Act 5. This organization of the Moorish Science Temple of America is not to cause any confusion or to overthrow the laws of the Constitution of this said government, to obey hereby. Act 6. With us, all members must proclaim their nationality. And we are teaching our people their nationality and their divine creed, that they may know that they are part and parcel of this said government. And know that they are not Negroes, colored folks, Black people, or Ethiopians, because these names were given to slaves by slaveholders in 1779 and lasted until 1865 during the time of slavery. But this is a new era in time now, and all men now must proclaim their free national name to be recognized by the government in which they live and the nations of the earth. This is the reason why Allah, the great God of the universe, ordained Noble Drew Ali, the prophet, to redeem the people from their sinful ways. His people from their sinful ways. The Moorish Americans are the descendants of the ancient Moabites who inhabit the northwestern and southwestern shores of Africa. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meetings to become a part of uplifting upon humanity. Uplift. Let me start that one over. Act 7. All members must promptly attend their meeting and become a part and parcel of all uplifting acts of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Members must pay their dues and keep in line with all necessities of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Then you're entitled to the name of faithful. Husband, you must support your wife and children. Wife, you must obey your husband and take care of your children and look after the duties of your household. Sons and daughters must obey father and mother and be industrious and become a part of uplifting upon humanity. All Moorish Americans must keep their hearts and their minds pure with love and their bodies clean with water. This divine covenant is from your holy prophet, Noble Drew Ali, through the guidance of his father, God Allah. Noble Drew Ali, the founder of the Moorish Science Temple of America, home also Noble Drew Ali, Chicago, Illinois, USA. Islamism, praise Allah. Announcements. Let's see. That's really it, everybody. Read some more stuff. But give you guys update on other things on Sunday on our private session. And if you guys don't have anything to say, any questions on anything, any question, any question?
Islam more, I like your breakdown of the Quran. You know,
Islam, huh?
I heard nobody do it like that, and appreciate that.
Islam, huh? Thank you. Islamism. Yeah, it unfolds like our life. You know, I was really looking at like chapter 1, like you're in the womb, you know, it's like a heaven almost. And it even explains heaven and explains our cosmology. But if you look at it kind of like that, then your birth, and then you kind of go through the stages. It's like when you're a child, you know, you want to hear some good stories. That's why those stories of Jesus are there. You know, you want to make them fun, you know, when they're a child. And you want to make them remember, like you remember your favorite cartoon, like you remember your favorite show when you're really a small child. You want that to be the Quran for them. You know, you want that impression to be the Quran, something like that. So, yeah, hold on, everybody. Okay, so praise Allah. You know, things are moving really well. We're still on YouTube, so let's cut off of YouTube here. So thanks to everybody on YouTube for showing up, and praise Allah. And please pray out and you have a really good week and do something special for yourself and others.